Che Guevara is a name that evokes strong emotions and sparks controversy, even decades after his death. To some, he's a heroic figure who fought for social justice and equality, a champion of the oppressed, a fearless leader who fought against imperialism and inequality, while to others, he's a ruthless guerrilla leader who orchestrated violence and oppression. A villain, a ruthless dictator, a cold-blooded killer who slaughtered his enemies without mercy. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between. One thing is certain: Che Guevara's legacy is complex, multifaceted, and continues to be a topic of heated debate. On one hand, he's often romanticized as a charismatic revolutionary who inspired millions to fight against imperialism and oppression. On the other hand, his actions are seen as brutal, authoritarian, and responsible for countless human rights abuses. He is one of the most controversial figures in history, a man whose name is synonymous with revolution, passion, and ideology. But who was he, really? One of the biggest challenges in understanding Guevara's true impact is separating fact from fiction. The myths and legends surrounding him have grown so large that it's hard to know what's real and what's not. But as we dig deeper into his life, it becomes clear that Guevara was a man of many contradictions, a passionate idealist, a ruthless pragmatist, and a complex, multifaceted human being. A dangerous ideologue who used violence and intimidation to impose his radical brand of socialism. Many argued that his policies led to economic disaster, censorship, and the suppression of individual freedoms in Cuba and beyond. Ernesto Guevara de la Serna was born in 1928 in Argentina to a middle-class family. From a young age, he was drawn to social justice, and his travels across Latin America on his motorcycle exposed him to the harsh realities of poverty, inequality, and US-backed dictatorships. These experiences shaped his worldview and fueled his desire to create a more just and equal society. Some historians declare that during his trip across South America, he was drawn to left-wing politics and became radicalized. It was during this trip that he developed his infamous motorcycle, which became a symbol of his adventurous spirit and his desire to challenge authority. Che's involvement in the Cuban Revolution, alongside Fidel Castro, propelled him to international prominence. He played a key role in the guerrilla war against the Batista regime, and his role in the revolution went far beyond just fighting. He was a key strategist, a passionate orator, a brilliant tactician, and later served as Cuba's Minister of Industry, where he implemented rapid policies aimed at rapid industrialization and the redistribution of wealth. However, his vision for socialism also led to authoritarianism, censorship, and human rights abuses. Guevara tried helping Castro to establish the new socialist system and defended against internal and external threats, but he soon became disillusioned with the slow pace of change and the corruption that had begun to creep into the government. He left Cuba, determined to spread the revolution to other parts of the world. Che's influence extended far beyond Cuba's borders, inspiring leftist movements and guerrilla groups across the Americas, Africa, and Asia. At the same time, however, his actions also had disastrous consequences, including economic collapse, forced labor, and the suppression of dissenting voices. Guevara's later years were marked by a series of failed attempts to ignite revolution in other countries. He traveled to Africa, Asia, and South America, always searching for the next great cause. But despite his best efforts, he was unable to replicate the success of the Cuban Revolution. He became increasingly isolated and disillusioned, and his health began to decline. But there came a point when Che's ideals clashed with reality, and his popularity began to wane. His disastrous economic policies, combined with a series of failed guerrilla campaigns, led to a decline in his influence and a rise in criticism. In 1966, Che embarked on a doomed mission to spread revolution to Bolivia. It's ironic that Guevara's greatest defeat would come in Bolivia, a country he had never visited before. He was captured by Bolivian forces in 1967 and executed soon after. The news of his death sent shockwaves around the world, and it marked the end of an era. but it also marked the beginning of a more nuanced understanding of his complex and multifaceted legacy. His capture and execution were a pivotal moment in history. For some, it marked the end of the revolutionary era, the final defeat of a man who had dedicated his life to changing the world. For others, it was a martyrdom, the ultimate sacrifice of a hero who had given his life for the cause. Today, Che Guevara remains an enigmatic figure, revered by some and reviled by others. His life and actions continue to fuel passionate debates about socialism, revolution, and the role of the state in society. He was a man of great passion and conviction, who gave up his life fighting against oppression and inequality. But he was also a man of great flaws, ruthless, dogmatic, and sometimes brutal. What do you think? Was Che Guevara a hero or a villain? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're interested in learning more about historical figures, be sure to check out our videos, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.